It's Care Providers of Minnesota's The Inside Scoop, featuring your advocacy team, Patty Cullen, Toby Pearson, Aaron Bowie, and Todd Bergstrom. This week's host, Toby Pearson.
Welcome to today's Inside Scoop. Today is Friday, February 22nd, and we have a special executive producer this week. So enjoy. All right, what happened this week? Well, we had three things of interest. First, electronic monitoring moved again in the Senate. The Senate has moved it out of the Judiciary Committee this week and onto the floor. Although during the testimony this week, the Department of Human Services came down and said there may be fiscal implications for this bill. So they're going to see if they have to put a fiscal note on it, and if they do they have to send it back to a different committee, or can it go straight to the floor? Stay tuned to see what happens with that. The good news is, Senate side electronic monitoring is moving along. Second thing of note this week, there was a House hearing on a proposal regarding abuse and neglect. This is the advocates bill that has been introduced in the House. We had a long hearing where they brought in and told a lot of very bad stories. They got the attention of the committee, and as you know, this is a completely different committee than last year. And as a result, there was a lot of education going on to many of the committee members who had not heard all of the stories in the past year. We did, of course, go down and testify regarding some logistical challenges that the language that they have proposed will cause us. We continue to work with both the advocates, the department, and legislators to try to find common ground and get as close to consensus as we possibly can. Look for our bill regarding abuse and neglect and protections for adults in assisted living licensure to be dropped in next week, we hope. They're drafting it. We think it's going to be ready. Third thing that happened this week is big news. The governor dropped his first budget. By all indications, the $1.5 billion surplus that we have right now is going to decrease as of the February forecast, which comes out at the end of February, beginning of March. So this is actually probably the high water mark for spending for a lot of folks. Although it was full of a lot of things, including money regarding Department of Health, OHFC, Mark, I just want to highlight three things for you. Actually, four things, sorry. First, there was a savings attributed to changing the quality improvement on the value-based reimbursement for nursing facilities. What they are seeing is that the trend line right now is not driving enough quality, so they want to work with us to help try to figure out how we can drive more quality through the value-based payment system. Second, there will be changes to therapy assessments. There's been increases in therapies payments that seem out of whack. They expressed these things to us actually today when we got to meet with them and walk through. Third, property reform. They have introduced the concept of property reform, and although we are very similar on a lot of things, probably the biggest difference is numbers. So we continue to dialogue with them regarding the numbers as far as property goes. And last, there's a big change to the other operating rate. Now, the savings page shows $22 million in the out years. We had a very good conversation with them this morning about our perspective on a number of things that go into the other operating, how the other operating might work. If you have questions about your other operating, Todd is still waiting to get all the details from the summary pages from the department so we can start to educate folks on what the implications are for you. But we did have a nice long conversation with them. As you know, this is the first step in a budget process. This is not the last step in the budget process. So what will happen next? Well, when the February forecast, which usually comes out in March, comes out, we will have a better idea what the numbers are. The governor can then adjust his budget to reflect those changes. And the real budget process for both the House and the Senate kind of start to begin right now. So a number of our bills will be getting introduced and heard, and we hope things move through the process. Next week, we expect to be able to testify regarding the governor's budget and some of our concerns with the budget. And we expect that there will be another stop probably for the licensure bill. As it moves through the House, it has probably 5 or 6 different committees it has to get through, so they are going to start moving it along. And we expect to know what will happen with electronic monitoring in the Senate. Will we have to make another stop or not? But for now, that is the Inside Scoop. And thanks for watching.